Welcome in to the Al Smith Alfa Insurance High School Football Scoreboard Show. Get ready for all the scores and recaps from tonight's games. Let's throw it over to the boys from Northwest Georgia Football, Lawrence Morgan and Benton Burge.
Hey, welcome into the Al Smith Alfa Insurance Friday night scoreboard, man. Week 3 of the Northwest Georgia High School football season completed. Joined by Benton Burge, Brooks Carter. Pretty exciting night of scores, man. I was surprised by a few of them.
Man, just going down the list, I watched a bunch of football tonight, and I've seen a bunch of things, and very interesting seasons by a ton of teams. I think Dalton scored like 40-something on Northwest, and Coosa and Model were going back and forth. Bunch of points scored, so be fun to talk about.
Yeah, I think there's teams that we weren't expecting necessarily to have really great seasons who are off to really great starts. There's a few surprising 3-0 teams that maybe internally thought they would be 3-0, but I don't know that there was the expectation from people like us. I think it's been a really fun season to kind of a lot of teams have gone completely against what the projections look like. I think that's really fun. I think there's been a lot of parity so far early in this season, and I think it looks like it's going to continue.
Yeah, I know you were at a pretty exciting game tonight. I saw the score early. I was just flipping through the scoreboard, and I saw where Coahulla was up 10-7 on North Cobb Christian at one point. Kind of caught my attention.
They actually jumped out to a 10-0 lead, and then they were up by 2 scores 3 different times in the first half. It was 10-0, then it was wound up being 17-7, and then the Colts Waylon Belial scored on a 41-yard touchdown run with 3 minutes left in the first half, and Coahulla Creek was up 24-14, and with 3 minutes left in the first half, and North Cobb Christian scored 24 unanswered, shut the Colts out in the second half to win 38-24. But I mean, I was impressed with Coahulla Creek. Obviously, there's stuff to work on, but there's a lot to build on considering this team went down to Kennesaw last year and got beat 48-7. North Cobb Christian, kudos to their coaching staff, though. They're 3-0. They lost a ton of personnel from last year, and their offense looks totally different. They run pistol set. They get Cooper Bakarski running downhill, and he is a one-cut back, man. He is impressive. The quarterback looked good tonight, too. They run to set up the pass, and they made some defensive adjustments at halftime, and they're sitting here 3-0. They're going to be a tough out for anybody in the region again this year. I think people slept on them because of who they had leaving, but they quietly went about their business. Here they are sitting at 3-0 again.
How many yards did the Northwest Georgia football yard leader have tonight, Cooper? Did he put some yards on the board tonight?
I don't. Second half, the passing game was really what kind of stretched the lead out for them. He probably went for 100. I don't think it was anything crazy. Colts he actually fumbled the football. That's what gave the Colts the opportunity to go up 10-0. We were up 3-0, then then got the ball back off a fumble from him. But after that, he took care of the football. All purpose, he might have been close to 200. He had a few catches out of the backfield. So he's the thing that stuck out to me about him is he looks a little leaner and a little faster than last year. I remember him kind of being a little kind of like a stockier looking guy last year, and he is really like I don't remember him having such good top end speed. So he's really put in a lot of work.
I think. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to tell Eric, man. I see his message about a link to the show. Get with me on Facebook or YouTube. Tell us how we can get in touch with you next week. That way we can send a link to you.
Yes, get on Facebook or Twitter would probably be easier, so you can send a direct message to the Northwest Georgia page, and we'll chat with you and figure out a way to get you on. I was going to say I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the job Haralson County's done. Randy Crutchfield down there with a big win this week. You'll see as we go over the scores. But Haralson County looking like a team that's going to compete in that region. That region's going to be extremely tough. We talk
3-0, right? They're 3-0, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of those teams that I was saying, like Pickens is 3-0. Like a lot of these teams that weren't in the playoffs last year sitting here unbeaten.
Well, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into the scoreboard. See if there's anything that y'all have seen or haven't seen yet that we've got. So throw it on there. Cedartown was down pretty big and charged back late. Ends up losing to Alexander 34-31. That was yesterday. Today's game, Rome was up and ended up losing to Carrollton 28-21. That was a pretty good game. Big boy football there. Harrison beat North Paulding 25-23. East Paulding beat Paulding County 49-20. Central runs all over Hiram 49-0. Cass goes on the road at Daresville and gets a 48-0 win. River Ridge in a close one over Altoona 21-13. Cartersville plays another top 10 team, but they defeat Hateville Charter 42-6. Northwest comes out on the winning end of a shootout at Dalton 62-42. Murray County gets a win 20-14 over Southeast Whitfield. And East Jackson edges Dawson County 37-22.
Yeah, I'm trying to I'm going to check real quick. That may be the first time ever that Northwest has defeated Dalton in consecutive years. So that they haven't beaten them very often. I think that was probably only the 9th or 10th time they've ever beaten them. So I'll check back with you here in a minute. But also, Murray County, new coach, have already exceeded their win total from last year, starting 2-1.
Yeah. Going on down the list here, Lumpkin County defeats Hart County 19-14. Pickens with a big win at Gilmer 38-24. Habersham beats White County 17-3. Calhoun handles Westminster 35-17. Here's a big one here. Ringo goes to Heritage and defeats Heritage 21-16. Here's another one. Lafayette goes to 2-1 with a 17-7 win at Dade County. Darlington, and one I watched basically half of the fourth quarter, and I know all the overtimes. Darlington pulls out a 44-42 win over Ridgeland in 4 overtimes. Well of a game there. North Cobb Christian defeats Scholar Creek 38-24. Union and Fannin will play tomorrow at 1:30. Bowden flexes his muscles in the hometown rivalry 48-7 over Bremen. Haralson County, before mentioned Haralson County, 41-7 over Greene County. Heard County gets a little revenge on Murphy, puts a little bit on late, 42-10. That was a lot closer game than that, but Heard's a pretty good team there. Model defeats Coosa 44-30 in a track meet. I'll give Coosa credit; they never gave up. They battled all night long. Quarterback, he probably threw it 40 times. He's just throwing it all over the place. Christian Heritage goes to Pepperell and gets a 30-26 win. Kind a little bit surprised by that one. I don't know. We'll get y'all's take in a minute. Temple 41-20 over Trine. Trine was tied. I believe it was tied 20-20 in the third quarter, and Temple pulls away. Big time running game down there at Temple. Gordon Central gets another win, 44-24 over Josie, and then Mount Zion gets another win, 20-6 over Bethlehem Christian. All right. Any surprises?
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise for me all night long, scoreboard watching, was this one. Carrollton and Rome. Rome jumped out to a 14-0 lead, third quarter. Carrollton scores, makes it 14-7. Rome goes back on top, 21-7. I was listening to the Carrollton Scoreboard show on the way home, and they were talking about the second half of that game. C.J. Cipher, man, the freshman quarterback down there at Carrollton, he was 10 of 10 for 170 in the second half.
Wow. Yeah, that equates to a pretty good QBR there. So that's an impressive stat line. Yeah, I think just some teams that have struggled in recent years. I mean, or just teams that, back to what I mentioned earlier, teams that maybe a lot of people didn't have expectations for. Like Gordon Central with Lenny Gregory leaving, I don't think there was any expectation for them to compete. I think a lot of people thought they'd go back to what they were. They're 3-0 with a new coach. Really impressive job for them to be sitting here 3-0. You mentioned Harrelson. I think some of these teams that probably won't get a lot of wouldn't get a lot of talk otherwise, but I think there's I think especially those single A regions, six single A and 7 single A. I don't think there's going to be an easy out any week. I mean, I didn't think Gordon Central was going to be 3-0, and now they get ready to go into region play. I don't think anybody thought Harrelson County was going to be 3-0. It's going to be a dogfight every week in those regions, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Jake, I think Coosa was a 17-point favorite, if I remember.
It was, a 17 on the show and a 20.5 in the pick'em.
Gotcha.
So if you picked a model, you did good, Jake. Yeah, I think the game I was at tonight, man, incredible. Bowden came out unbelievable. Jumped on Bremen early. The quarterback down there, Josh Hopkins, he had 5 touchdowns, four touchdowns in the first half. Probably threw for 200 plus, ran for 100 plus. The big man Caden Prother out there, I think he only had 1 touch in the first half. He took a screen pass, 80 yards for a touchdown.
Wow.
Bowden looked like a 3-time state champion for sure. The only scoring drive Bremen had in the first half on the game period was a drive that was aided by 3 personal foul penalties from Bowden. They gave him 45 yards right there.
Man, it just tells you the level of competition that Bowden has played the first 2 weeks, because I did not see that dominant of a performance coming. And it's kind of a shock to me a little bit, but I don't know why I should be shocked that the 3-time defending champ's going to stand up, especially against their rival like that, a few miles apart.
Yeah, I heard some of the Carroll County scoreboard shows. I was driving back from Bowden tonight, and I don't think anybody in Carroll County was expecting that outcome. They were all surprised by that, the final score anyway.
Yeah, I think especially after Bremen, put 70 on the board last week. I think there was an expectation for. I mean, I thought Bowden would win. I wasn't able to join the pick'em show earlier this week, but I definitely thought it would probably be a 14, 21-point game by the end, not blowout territory. But I did want to follow back up on my it's only the second time Northwest beat Dalton in 98, 99 back-to-back years. But I think those were like the first 2 seasons after Bill Chappell retired. So that would be, I guess that was to be expected of a fall off at some point. But nonetheless, doesn't happen. Wins against Dalton don't happen. I know they're in a kind of a down period, but if they can get the defense figured out, Dalton can certainly score.
Yeah, they're slinging the ball. They got some athletes. Yeah. He says Ridgeland's going to be a surprise team. I mean, when I looked down and I saw the Darlington Ridgeland game headed to overtime, I'm like, oh, I gotta look at this. I gotta figure out what went on. I'm gonna have to watch early in the game, but it looked like from the parts that I watched that they were running the ball on them, and running back and quarterback were able to move pretty good, and it was tough for Darlington to stop. And then Darlington was scoring as well. They held them out of the end zone on a toss play there. They had already did one time in the 2-point conversion alternate, and then the second time is where Darlington won on the last play, 44-42.
Yeah, I'll tell you the one question that makes me like brings to my mind with that final score is how good is it? Lakeview for Oglethorpe, man. They beat Ridgeland 44-0 to start the season. I guess we'll find out next Friday night at North Murray. Huh?
Yeah, I think they can score points. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you what game I'm super. I mean, that's going to be a good one, especially because it's got region implications. Both teams are 2-0. I think they were both idle this week. Probably will be one of the biggest games in Region 7-2A next week. But how about we get Calhoun at Cartersville next week?
Yeah.
I can't wait to watch that. Cartersville has looked almost untouchable at this point, but really, Calhoun has scheduled tough in the non-region. They've played up, and this team that wound up winning the region or the state championship last year finished 12-3, but they started 1-3 against this tough non-region schedule. Well, they've come out so far and they're 2-0 against two teams that they lost to last year. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see that game next week because Calhoun has not faded from the opportunity to come out and have an encore for a state title this year. And I think Cartersville's overdue for a state title. They've lost like one regular season game like this decade so far in the 2020s. So count me in on paying attention to that game next week.
Gotcha. I think Lakeview fell to Heritage last weekend, 27-20. So they are 1-1. But I mean, not a bad loss though. 7-point loss to a pretty good Heritage team. I think that Lakeview game's still going to be a good one though next week at home in Lakeview versus North Murray.
This is a game I was interested in tonight. Thomas County Central went down to Tallahassee and beat Florida High 79-14 tonight. I believe Thomas County Central may be your team to beat in 5A.
I think we named that out before the year started. I'm pretty sure you was all over that one.
Yeah.
I tell you another good one in 7-2A. Another good one in 7-2A next week is Ringgold and Rockmart. Ringgold's 3-0. If you'll remember that game last year up in Ringgold, Ringgold only lost by field goal. So it was a really tight ball game last year, and Ringgold, some might thought they would take a step back this year, but they don't seem to have. So I think that's going to be a really fun game to keep an eye on next week as well.
Do you know right off the bat who Haralson County plays next Friday night? I'm curious about the Rebels.
I can find it.
They
Green
are.
County.
Yeah, no, that was this week.
Putnam County.
Mm.
Yeah. Don't know anything about Putnam.
I don't either.
Last game they'll have before region play starts, though.
Charles says he wants to apologize to the North Carolina refs. He said eventually the Georgia refs like to become the focal point. A huge win for Heard County, though. That game was fairly close in the fourth quarter, though, right? Wasn't it 17-10, something like that, going into the fourth?
It was a decent game. Yeah, they scored. I think they scored 3 times in the fourth quarter, 3 or 4 to pull away. Excuse me.
Yeah, I heard some of the Temple Tryon game on my way home. I got to listen to the fourth quarter. JoJo Jones at Temple, I think he had 4 touchdowns tonight, interception.
Number 20, that dude runs way bigger than he is. Physical, breaking tackles. If you don't wrap him up or gang tackle him, he's just going to keep going. He could be one of those guys that step out. I don't know what class he is in school, but he's going to be one to watch.
Yeah, I think he only weighs like 155 pounds.
I was told
maybe
more than
60 or so. Really,
right. You might be right.
Yeah, they play South Atlanta next week to wrap up region play or a non-region play at home. And last year was a record-setting year for Temple. They'd never won more than 6 games in a season. They went 9-3, were region runner-up, won a playoff game. Now they're looking at starting 4-0 for the first time in school history, I think. That's another team that I thought because it was a record-breaking year and having some really talented guys that were seniors, I thought they may take a step back. I was wrong. Corey Nix has done an outstanding job down there, and they actually look like they could be better than they were last year at this point. I just said it a few minutes ago, that region is going to be crazy to see play out. I have no idea who I would even pick at this point because I'm not confident. Well, Heard County, I would still lean them, but I'm not nearly as confident in it as I was in July.
Well, I'm going to get on the same boat as you and eat a little crow because I did not expect Temple to be where they are now. I actually trying to go beat them, which it was 20-20, midway through the game. But physically and the way they run their offense, when they get to the line, they quick snap. I mean, you don't know where it's coming from. I like that little muddle huddle. If you're not ready, you're getting blown off the ball. They got good-sized linemen, and 20s hitting it up in the hole. And I think they can win this region. I think it's going to be tough, like you said, Heard County. But yeah, the crow don't taste good. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't expect them to be there. So good job to the coaching staff.
I'll tell you a team too that we haven't talked much about that you'll get to see next Friday night. Mount Zion Eagles, man, they've been playing well first 3 weeks of the season.
Yep, got another win tonight, 20-6. Trying to look and see what else kind of stood out at me. We hadn't mentioned yet the Christian Heritage win at Pepperell. I seen nothing on this game. Kind of quiet. I had to go back and see if I could find a stream I'd like to watch and see how that game turned out. Sounds like it was a real close game.
Yeah, Christian Heritage was 0-2 coming into tonight's game too, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a big win for them on the road to get their first win of the season. Pepperell's a team that a lot of people have been high on this year. They're expecting big things from. So I think Christian Heritage is starting a freshman at quarterback, right?
Yep, Charlie Baxter. Yeah, I can't wait to see the stats from that Dalton game. Northwest Whitfield. What was it, 68-42 was the final?
62-42.
62.
Yeah, it looked like some 2010s Big 12 score here. My God.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I want to give a shout out to the Lafayette Ramblers. 2-1 right now. Played their only loss was to Gordon Lee, 24-7, and they were in that game in the second half. They got to go to Tryon next week, and then they'll start in their region play. But watch out for them. They're going to get somebody that they shouldn't, and by shouldn't I mean that they're not projected to win. Well, they're going to get some more. Let's say that, because I know they've been underdogs a couple times, and they're going to win a few more. I think, looking down that schedule.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with them too. I saw them in the preseason at the Jamboree down at Model, and they made such improvement even in just the 2 weeks between then and the first game of the season against Chattooga. They were 0-10 last year. I mean, and they've started out 2-1, winning games that I don't think, they beat 2 playoff teams from last year. They started off with 3 playoff teams on their schedule with Chattooga, Gordon Lee, Dade County, all playoff teams from last year, and they beat 2 of them. So that's really impressive job. Ethan Thompson in his second year there, that's a team I did not have on my radar to be starting 2-1. So just again, kind of on the theme of teams overachieving or doing the unexpected to this point in the year.
Yeah, and we have to give a shout out to RJ Casey's Pickens Dragons. Man, I didn't see that one coming tonight. I thought it would be a close game. I like the Bobcats going in, but I mean the Dragons are off to a 3-0 start, looking good.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to pick against them. Let's see here. Murray County.
Yeah,
Murray County, Southeast. I don't know how this game went, but Southeast again, 1-score game, right there. Tough way to lose close games like that.
Yeah, I watched Southeast Whitfield and Coosa last week, and I think Southeast Whitfield is one of those teams that could sneak up on somebody at some point this year.
Agreed.
They're physical. I mean, big on defense. Still trying to find their way on offense, but I think they have some winnable games going forward.
Yeah, I mean, you think about, you look at next week. They go to our Murchie. I think that will be a knockdown dragout. That could be one of those 7-6 games like we've talked about in the past.
Yeah, they get Towns County later in the year too, who Murray won in their opener against. That's not a great program. Hasn't been, I should say. So I think there's a few winnable games on their schedule for sure. And I saw them a few times over the summer. Cola did some 7-on-7 stuff with them and padded camp stuff. They look more inspired than they have in a few years. So I mean, I think if nothing else, Jesse Peppers, the new coach, who was I think co-OC or at Chattooga before coming to Southeast, he's at least got them playing with a little more fire and grit in their bellies than they did in recent years. So. You're right. They could sneak up on somebody.
Do you want to roll through the scores one more time, Benton? And I'll read them if you throw them up there. I don't have access to them over here. All right. Alexander beat Cedartown 34-31 last night on Thursday Night Football. I don't know if you guys saw this game, but it was 27-7 going into the fourth quarter. And Cedartown came back and took a 31-27 lead. Alexander scored a controversial touchdown in the last 2 minutes of the game to win 34-31. Carrollton Rome in a shootout. Carrollton wins 28-21. North Paulding falls at Harrison 25-23. East Paulding 49-20 over Paulding County. Central had a 42-0 lead at halftime, held on for 49-0 win over Hiram. Cass 48-0 over Adairsville. River Ridge 21-13 over Altoona. Cartersville stays undefeated with a 42-6 win over Hateville. Game we were talking about earlier, shootout, 104 points total tonight. Northwest Whitfield 62, Dalton 42. Murray County goes to 2-1 with a 20-14 win over Southeast Whitfield. And East Jackson beats Dawson County 37-22. Lumpkin County wins at Hart County 19-14. Pickens goes to 3-0 with a 38-24 win at Gilmer. Habersham Central 17, White County 3, Calhoun 35, Westminster 17, Ringgold 21-16 at Heritage. If I'm not mistaken, is this the third year in a row that Ringgold's beaten Heritage after not beating them previously?
I don't know.
Lafayette 17-0 over Dade County. Darlington beats Ridgeland 44-42 in 4 overtimes. North Cobb Christian 38-24 over Color Creek. Union and Fannin will kick it off tomorrow at 1:30, and Bowden with a big win, 48-7 over Bremen. Haralson County 3-0 on the year, has to be the team of the year so far in 2025. 41-7 at Greene County. Greene County was a quarterfinal team in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Heard County 42-10 over Murphy. Model 44-30 over Coosa. Christian Heritage upsets Pepperell 30-26. Temple 41-20 over Tryon. Gordon Central goes to 3-0 with a 44-24 win over Josie. And Mount Zion remains undefeated with a 20-6 win against Bethlehem Christian. And those are your scores from week 3. Who does Gordon Central play next week? See if they keep the streak going.
Let's look here.
I would imagine they're either going to be on a bye or answer region play. They're on a bye next week, and then they start region play. They start region play with Chattooga in 2 weeks. Ringgold, that is their 3rd win in a row after losing 3 in a row in the series. Actually, they didn't play in 2021 for some reason. Ringgold may have won that game that year. That was a really good Ringgold team.
COVID, yeah, COVID year.
No, it was actually the year after.
Oh, it was the year after
2020, 2021 wasn't the COVID year. Somebody told us a story on that back when I was doing like the County Kings series. Someone commented some politics involved. I don't really remember exactly what happened, but Austin Crisp has never lost to Heritage. Ringgold head coach, so he's now 3-0 against them. Yeah, there's one other thing that had stuck out to me when you were rolling back to the scores, but I don't remember what it is now. So maybe I'll think of it in a few minutes. But
this right here was a big win on the statewide level. Grayson beating Thompson tonight by 1 point. Grayson lost their starting quarterback earlier this week. Thompson was ranked number 1 in Alabama, I believe. They were the number 1 team in 7A in Alabama.
Yeah, they've won like 4 of the last 5 or 5 of the last 6 state titles over here. Their guy that's starting at quarterback is in his 4th year as a starter. He's only a junior. He won a state championship as an 8th grader as a starting quarterback. I can't remember what his name is, but he's been he'll be like one of the top recruits in the country next year in the class of 27. So yeah, Thompson's they're the real deal. But I think Grayson's a better football program. So
yeah, I think this is the 2nd year in a row that Grayson's beaten them by 1 point. I think they beat them in overtime last year, 15-14.
Yeah, we've had a few of the Alabama-Georgia border wars. Carrollton will play the defending 6A champion, Parker, coming up soon.
Trent Seaborn is his name.
Yeah. That as soon as they put it on the screen, I remembered it. But yeah, Parker from inner city Birmingham will make the trip over to Carrollton in a few weeks, probably in the next couple of weeks for the return trip. That game was on ESPN2 last year. Juju Lewis on one side, and then like the number 1 DB in the country who's now at Oregon playing for Parker. So.
All righty. One thing I did think about, Lawrence, I know we went through these scores a few times. We announced on the Pick'em show that we have a new partnership with Crier Signs out of Fort Payne, Alabama, and we have a new gear shop. So you can get gear like what I was wearing here, Northwest Georgia hats, T-shirts, sweaters. There soon will be like stickers that will go like car emblems that will go in your car. mugs, all kind of different stuff. It will all go back to support this show and to the trophies. We got a couple ideas. We're going to go all out for the kids who win the Northwest Georgia Player of the Year, and we might hand out T-shirts or whatnot. But we want to make it bigger and better for the people and the kids in Northwest Georgia. So that's our goal with it. And I'm going to share a little quick thing that you can just scan on your phone, or you can go to our website, and you'll be able to see how to purchase those things. I'll share it.
Need to see if we can get an NWGA football Letterman jacket made. So for the winter, feel like a real has-been then.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Put the jacket on them when we
they won the Masters.
Yeah. Hey, start your own tradition. It definitely would be a tradition like no other than. All right, you want to run the scores one more time, and then we'll get out of here?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'll read them off. You guys can comment as I go down. I'll give you a little pause if y'all want to hop in and make some comments. Alexander beat Cedartown 34-31. Carrollton comes back in the second half to beat Rome 28-21. Harrison 25-23 over North Paulding. East Paulding wins the Battle of Paulding County 49-20. Central rolling 49-0 over Hiram. I think a game next week, Central and Villarica. I think that'll be an interesting contest. Cass 48-0 over Adairsville.
Yeah, so that's what it was, Lawrence. Adairsville 0-3 for the first time since 2016. Surprisingly not good start for them.
Adairsville ready to get into region play.
Yeah, I know they lost a lot of guys off that team last year, man. They got a lot of young players, but River Ridge 21-13 over Allatoona. I was kind of surprised by that score. I know the Ridge was like a 30-point favorite going into that game. Allatoona lost last week at South Paulding. I kind of expected them to lose by more this week, but 21-13 score, pretty respectable there. Cartersville 42-6 over Hateville. Brooks was saying Cartersville and Calhoun next Friday night. It's going to be huge. The place is going to be packed. Is it in Cartersville or Calhoun?
It's at Cartersville.
Northwest Whitfield lighting up the scoreboard tonight. 62-42 over Dawson. Murray County 2-1 on the season. 20-14 win over Southeast Whitfield. East Jackson beats Dawson County 37-22. Lumpkin County hangs on to beat Hart County 19-14. Pickens moves to 3-0 with a 38-24 win over Gilmer. Habersham Central 17-3 over White County. Calhoun beats Westminster 35-17. Like I said, setting up that huge matchup next Friday night. Ringgold 21-16 over Heritage. Lafayette gets a big win at Magic Morgan 17-7. Darlington beats Ridgeland 44-42 in 4 overtimes. North Cobb Christian 38, Collar Creek 24. Union and Fannin kick it off tomorrow at 1:30. And Bowden, huge win, 48-7 over Bremen. And shout out to Jake Keller, man, because he said, I don't know if it was a Pick'em show or last week, that Bowden was going to have a coming out party this week. And they sure enough did.
You're right.
Haralson County 41-7 over Greene County. Moving to 3-0 in the season, probably for the first time in quite a while. Heard County 42-10 over Murphy, North Carolina. Model 44-30 over Coosa. Christian Heritage goes on the road and upsets Pepperell 30-26. Temple with a huge win. Coach Nix and his guys were 3-0. 41-20 win over Tryon. Another 3-0 team here, Gordon Central 44-24 over Josie. And just keep it going with these undefeated teams here. Mount Zion 3-0 with a 20-6 win over Bethlehem Christian.
You know, that Bowden game, you know, Bremen is not a bad team. You're going to see later on in the year, Bremen is not a bad team. It's just dominated by Bowden tonight.
Yeah, I'd send a text to somebody. Bowden has scored 3 touchdowns on 6 plays. They had 6 plays for 245 yards early. I was like, man, this is a 3-time state champion right here.
That is a really good average.
Yeah, Jake says a blind squirrel finds an acorn every now and then.
In reference to his Bowden prediction.
Yeah. Well, all right, guys, we'll be back on this week for the Week 4 Pick'em Show, man. It's hard to believe we're a third of the way through the season already.
No, don't wish it all away.
And I'm sure everybody be sitting on the couch watching some college football tomorrow. I know I'm gonna be there at noon watching Texas Ohio State.
Yeah, Auburn just beat Baylor 38-24.
That's what I was gonna say. And Georgia Tech picked up a win as well. All righty. I'm gonna put this little advertisement on, and we'll see y'all next week.
Hey guys, this is Ben Burge, a proud part of your Northwest Georgia football team. Would you like to help support Northwest Georgia football and get some nice gear in the process? Check out our new merchandise store by scanning the QR code or visiting us at northwestgeorgiafootball.com. All proceeds will go to operating costs and to greatly enhance the Northwest Georgia Football Player of the Year trophy. As always, we appreciate your ongoing support of Northwest Georgia football.
We here at Northwest Georgia Football would like to thank you for watching. Please join us again soon.